Abercrombie and Fitch. You might remember the clothing brand from the pounding techno music and the smell of cologne that would hit you as you entered its stores, after walking by the half-naked models who sometimes guarded its doors. It's where teens in the early 2000s would shop to get the trendiest flannels, tees, and jeans, all while feeling like they went clubbing with their parents. Abercrombie and its sister brand Hollister consistently ranked as one of the most popular stores for teens in the early 2000s.
I shop a little bit at Abercrombie and Fitch and also Hollister.
I mostly shop at Hollister and Abercrombie.
Abercrombie and Hollister.
And the bare-chested models featured in Abercrombie's advertisements defined the brand. But that hypersexualization is also what led to its fall from grace.
I think we're all tired of the scantily clad teen ads. You know what?
Well,
I'm tired of it. I don't know about you. You know, the ripped
David and I are struggling with
stomach.
that.
I don't want to buy a ripped, this is, if I want a six-pack, the heck with it, I'm buying a Coors Light.
For a period of time, the company's PR troubles piled up. It was hit with employee discrimination lawsuits, and its former CEO made headlines after fat-shaming comments made in 2006 resurfaced years later, suggesting the company only targeted cool, attractive people. After its controversial CEO retired in 2014, the Abercrombie brand began repositioning itself, hoping to wipe the slate clean of its past. Hollister, which has been the company's cash cow for a decade, is focused on teens, while Abercrombie targets shoppers over 18. As of October 2019, A&F's stock has shot up 26% since CEO Fran Horowitz took over in February 2017. But it has also fallen around 28% since January 2019, as investors worry that sales at its faster-growing Hollister brand are slowing down. Fran Horowitz laid out a four-pillar vision for the company in April 2018. Her plan includes redesigned stores that are more open, a more responsive supply chain, and a seamless shopping experience online and off. If you haven't been paying attention, the company might be unrecognizable. But that prompts the question, are investors ready to buy into the transformation? Abercrombie & Fitch didn't always make its money from selling trendy clothes to teens. The company actually got its start in 1892 as an outdoor specialty goods store. It sold camping, fishing, and hunting gear. And its clothes were sported by the likes of Presidents Theodore Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy, as well as Amelia Earhart.
In a prior incarnation, Abercrombie was the opposite of a teen retailer. They actually did things like outfitted people going on safari. And then they expanded, and you could do things, you could buy like croquet sets and really expensive backyard grills. So it was the opposite of teens. It was mostly sort of pretty well-off people doing luxury kind of stuff.
Things changed in 1988. The Limited, which also owned Victoria's Secret at the time, took an interest in the outdoor retailer. The company saw huge potential for growth, so it took over Abercrombie's brand and 27 stores for $47 million and started selling more fashion-oriented and casual apparel instead of sporting goods. But the rebrand didn't take. In 1992, Mike Jeffries was hired as CEO with a vision for the company that completely turned it around. Analysts say he aimed the brand at high school and college-aged students with a sharp eye for designing exactly the types of pricey skirts, jeans, and dresses that became must-haves for kids who wanted to be cool.
He was outrageous, and he did outrageous things. I mean, he turned Abercrombie from being sort of an old, stuffy, really boring company into a brand that got a lot of visibility, a lot of publicity by being outrageous. And basically, he sold sex to teenagers, and that's an easy sell.
Jeffries' plan worked. The company's revenue jumped year after year, hitting $166 million in 1994, $235 million in 95, and $335 million in 96. The turnaround was so successful that the Limited spun Abercrombie off as a public company in 1996. The retailer sold 7 million shares in its opening day for $112 million, or $16 per share. A&F became a fully independent company in 1998 after the Limited distributed all of its stake in the company. By 2000, Abercrombie and Fitch owned multiple brands: Abercrombie Kids, Hollister, and its namesake brand, Abercrombie and Fitch, which by fall 2001 had become the most popular brand among upper-income teens, a claim it would hold until spring 2005, when it was lapped by sister brand Hollister, which held the top spot until 2008. Its annual earnings increased for 12 consecutive years, between 1995 and 2007.
In its heyday, it was really popular. In its heyday, it was almost boring to see so many of them wearing the same stuff.
The company's growth seemed unstoppable. But behind the numbers, the Abercrombie brand reputation was already beginning to erode. Jeffries' lofty goal of getting Abercrombie to be synonymous with cool had led to some pitfalls. In 2002, the company came under fire for selling a t-shirt featuring two Asian caricatures with the words, "Two Wongs can make it white." It also found itself in hot water after selling thong underwear in children's sizes with the words "eye candy" and "wink wink." In 2003, the company was hit with a class action lawsuit from employees who said that Black, Asian, and Latino people were rejected or forced to work in back rooms where they wouldn't be seen by customers. That same year, Abercrombie also stopped regular publication of its catalog, called A&F Quarterly, which included racy photos of nude models and articles about sex.
Controversies actually, for a while, helped them because that makes them a little bit counterculture. So, when you're a teen, you're feeling rebellious and, authority. Nobody tells me what time to go to bed. Nobody tells me anything. So I think they actively courted controversy. It was credibility with teens that they couldn't buy.
But consumers were changing. In 2013, comments from a 2006 Salon interview with CEO Mike Jeffries resurfaced. In it, he said the company only goes after cool, attractive, and all-American kids. He openly admitted that the company was exclusionary and that other companies that were in trouble were the ones who were trying to target everybody, young, old, fat, skinny, resulting in an image that is totally vanilla. He also said Abercrombie hires good-looking people in their stores, since they attract other good-looking people. At the time, Jeffries issued an apology in a Facebook post on the company's page. He said, quote, "While I believe this 7-year-old resurrected quote has been taken out of context, I sincerely regret that my choice of words was interpreted in a manner that has caused offense." The post can no longer be found on its Facebook page. That perception came back to haunt A&F in 2015 after the Supreme Court ruled against the company for denying a Muslim woman a job because she wore a headscarf. This slew of controversies coincided with a loss of interest in the brand. Abercrombie and Fitch fell to the 4th most popular brand among upper-income teens in the spring of 2006, 6th in 2009, and floated around 10th between 2010 and 2014, falling off the charts soon after. By the end of 2013, the company had closed at least 220 stores since 2010 and announced that another 120 to 130 would shutter within 2 years as part of its strategy to make the stores more profitable. After Jeffries' comments recirculated in May 2013, same-store sales dropped by double-digit percentages for the next few quarters. With the exception of one quarter in 2015, they continued to stay negative until the 3rd quarter of 2017. Meanwhile, the Hollister brand only became more popular. In the 4th quarter of 2007, Hollister eclipsed the Abercrombie brand for the first time in terms of sales. The pervasive sexual marketing, which lasted until 2015, and the company's history of targeting skinny and attractive people did not play well with consumers, who were beginning to prefer brands that promoted inclusivity.
Today's young customer is used to diversity, inclusion, in terms of gender, in terms of race, ethnicity, religion, size, sexuality. They're used to that. And it's something that baby boomers who run these companies need to quickly understand.
Abercrombie eased back on the large logos from its clothing in North America stores in 2014. It's a move the company says was motivated by the fact that logos fell out of fashion in the US at the time. But analysts tell CNBC it might have had more to do with the fact that A&F logos turned off consumers who didn't want to be associated with the brand after years of controversy.
When the logo gets to be that big, it's like, uh-oh, the brand is trying too hard to be cool, and I'm trying too hard to be cool. Hey, everybody, look at me. I now have bought an A&F shirt. Well, at that point, it's pretty much the beginning of the end.
It also didn't help that malls were seeing falling foot traffic amid the rise of e-commerce. Between 2010 and 2013, foot traffic in malls plunged by 50%. In 2017, analysts estimated that between 20 to 25% of American malls will close by 2022. The retail landscape was changing. Of course, fashion trends come and go, and retailers need to adapt. Between 2013 and 2017, experts say the company was also struggling to compete with an emerging fast fashion industry, which offered clothes that were just as trendy for half the price.
It's a lot tougher because you have companies like H&M and Zara and Forever 21 who focus on fast fashion. And that's really where Gen Z and millennials shop in terms of their preferences of where they use their share of wallet.
But fast fashion has faced its own struggles in recent years. Customers have grown concerned with the environmental impact of producing clothes so cheaply and quickly. Forever 21 filed for bankruptcy in September 2019. Around 2013, as A&F sales declined, competitors like American Eagle were rolling out campaigns that seemed the antithesis to what Abercrombie stood for. In early 2014, American Eagle's intimates line, Aerie, launched a campaign featuring models of all sizes in unretouched photos.
American Eagle is smart to run a campaign that celebrates this. That keeps the customer very loyal because what you're saying to the customer is, I value you and I value your relationship with our brand. And that's smart messaging.
American Eagle was among the retailers early to the trend, but others later embraced inclusivity as well, including A&F in a 2015 ad campaign featuring diverse models, and later in its 2018 gender-neutral Abercrombie kids line called the Everybody Collection. In late 2013, a group of activist investors wrote a letter to Abercrombie's board asking them to replace Jeffries as the CEO once his contract expired in 2014. The same man who once pioneered and transformed the company was now seen by some as driving it to the ground. By December 2014, Jeffries retired from the company. Just a few months after he left, in April 2015, the company announced that Abercrombie would move away from its usual sexualized marketing tactics. Signage and shopping bags were redesigned, and it brought in Neelam Gill, a British supermodel of Indian descent, to become the face of the brand in November 2015. Then it literally wiped the slate by removing every picture from its Instagram account in 2016. Shirtless men were notably missing.
Repositioning a brand and moving a brand forward is not always easy. So candidly, we've had a few starts and stops on our journey with the Abercrombie adult brand. We knew where we wanted to go, but we had some things to learn along the way. The purpose of that campaign was to say we are no longer the company that we used to be, that we could wipe clean our social channels, wipe clean the history, and really think about forward.
Meanwhile, around the time that Jeffries' tenure was coming to a close at A&F, Fran Horowitz's was just beginning. She joined the company in October 2014 as president of the Hollister brand, then moved on to be A&F's president and head of the company merchandising before being named CEO in February 2017. By 2017, the company was at an inflection point. Sales were turning around. Q3 2017 was the first time since the fourth quarter of 2012 that the company's sales grew year over year. It reported $859.1 million in revenue, a more than 4% boost from the year-ago quarter. Hollister, its largest brand by sales, grew 10%. In April 2018, Horowitz met with investors to lay out her vision to improve the company. First, since so many customers shop online, it prioritized efforts to make shopping seamless, whether customers chose to shop in its stores or browse the website. Since 2010, it has invested about $500 million in its digital infrastructure. By 2018, it reached $1 billion in annual digital sales, representing more than 30% of its total sales for the year. The company said experiences such as its purchase online, pickup in-store function drove 1.5 million store visits in 2017, and it added Venmo as a payment option for shoppers. It's also investing in prototype stores that are smaller, with an open floor plan, which the company says is a better fit for customer needs. To do that, it's closing underperforming stores, shuttering more than 400 in the past several years.
Our stores were very dark, they were unapproachable. Today, our stores have lights on. We've opened up the aisleway. People talk about the retail apocalypse. From our perspective, stores matter.
Half of all Hollister stores and 10% of Abercrombie stores have been remodeled in its new format. By opening new stores and closing others, Abercrombie says it expects to end fiscal 2019 with more stores than in 2018, but less square footage overall. Another goal is to respond more quickly to fast-changing fashion trends by making its supply chain more nimble. In April 2018, Hollister's president said, for example, that when designers noticed an emerging trend in rose-themed graphics, it was able to rapidly put those products into stores, which customers loved. The company says loyalty programs are also key to its future. In September 2019, the company had 30 million loyalty members, up from 14 million in April the year prior. These customers tend to shop more and spend more. Another big goal, reinforcing the differences between its brands. Although the company bears the name Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister has been the biggest growth engine for the company.
So we had an opportunity to really separate the target demographic for Hollister as being that Gen Z 17-year-old, and then moving Abercrombie into what we reference as the young millennials in their early to mid-20s.
It's also building up Gilly Hicks, which sells intimates and loungewear. In 2019, it opened 4 pop-up shops to join 2 existing stores in Hawaii and New York. The brand is also sold within Hollister stores and online. There are signs that consumers are responding well to the changes.
I think today the consumer sentiment is increasing. When I first got here, actually both brands had negative consumer sentiment. We have watched the negative go positive, and then we've watched it increase from that point of view. We are not necessarily at par level yet today with our competition, but we believe that we are on track, and we are improving, and we're heading in the right direction.
In surveys, Hollister's popularity among teens has been steadily rising, and it was ranked 4th among all clothing brands as of fall 2019. In the first quarter of 2019, Hollister reported same-store sales growth of 2%, marking its 10th consecutive positive quarter. But that still missed analyst expectations of 3.3% growth, sparking a sell-off of A&F shares, on fears that momentum at its crown jewel was slowing. In the second quarter of 2019, same-store sales at both brands were flat.
We are a very different company than we used to be. We are a much more inclusive company. We are closer to the customer. We're responding to what the customer wants and not what we want them to want. Our Hollister marketing has changed 180 degrees. When I first got here, you would see an individual photo in jeans and a white t-shirt. Today, our marketing is bright, it's colorful, it's happy, it's kids together, it's friendship, it's optimism.
The 2019 holiday season may prove to be a pivotal point for the company. If sales at Hollister continue to fall below expectations, investors might double down on the belief that the brand is losing steam. If sales accelerate, however, that may indicate Horowitz's initiatives are winning over shoppers, who've decided to give the retailer another chance.